So, the way I personally look at sharing truths about myself that people take negatively are that it is not a cut down to myself, that it is simply self awareness. Now, the person that sparked this thought has clarified off of, so it kind of changed my video a little bit because it changed the narrative that was going on in my head, which I love that. I think that's so cool how you can literally have something planned and a person's ideas spark different thoughts inside your head. I personally do not need to be the biggest, the baddest, or whatever in the room to be able to learn in the room, to be able to experience in the room, to be able to enjoy myself in the room, right? So if there's somebody beautiful in the room, I feel privileged to be able to experience that beauty, right? If there's somebody in a room that's smarter than me, I feel so thankful that I get this time to be able to expand my thoughts and learn from somebody who has vastly more knowledge than me, right? If there's somebody stronger in the room than me, I can learn techniques to get stronger myself from them. I can learn mindset and skills and push and drive that they had or have to get themselves where they're at, right? Being the biggest, the baddest, and the most beautiful in the room means that you're obligated to give and bring something to the table for others. Being everybody else in the room actually is more beautiful because you gain so much from being that, right? Every room that you walk in is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to learn, for you to see something new, to analyze things differently, to have a fun experience, to have a new experience that you've never had, right? To create bonds with people that you didn't create. But you're not going to do any of that if you're sitting there looking at the person that's smarter than you or that you feel is more beautiful than you. Because here's the interesting thing about all of those things is that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So is perspective of brain and things like that. Like if you're talking to a neuroscientist, they're going to think somebody that's talking in their realm is smarter than somebody that's talking super fucking analytical about sports shit, right? Because they're going to have more of appreciation for that, and they're going to have a higher value set on that. Same as beauty. I see people with different hair all the time complimenting, oh, I wish I had that. So look, they have an appreciation higher for something else than their own stuff. Same thing goes with the people that just absolutely love their natural stuff. They have a very high appreciation for their own natural versus wanting and desiring something from somebody else. Humanity doesn't excel when you're sitting in your head and being bitter about something and sitting in a place of lack or want or bitterness, but it does advance in some way if you're not in that and you're willing to gain from the experience in some way, shape, or form, whether that be a bond, whether that be new information, whether that be a new trick, a new thing, anything. You have no idea when you start changing the way that you think. Walking outside your front door is a whole different experience from when you're in that mundane survival mode. Like it's so much different and more beautiful of an experience when you're able to appreciate everything and you're not in that everything's mundane mode. Then I don't know, it's, yeah, you're still gonna have moods, you're still gonna have ups and downs and stuff, but since my mindset has shifted in that my mood, I'm able to swing out of faster. Life is able to hit me so much harder, and I'm just like, shit, all right, more's happening, cool. What are we gonna learn from this one? How are we gonna grow from this one? I'm handling it better in the overall. I'm having less explosions on other people. Not to say that I don't have explosions on other people, but I'm getting better overall without even really having to put this major effort in, where I spent a majority of my life trying to put all this effort into fixing myself and feeling like nothing I did was good enough to fix myself and that I was never going to be a non-broken human being. And then I finally started to understand what people were saying, why people were always saying the same type of things, and why my brain wasn't getting it. Like, why is everybody preaching the self-love and everything? Like, I see how powerful I am by putting other people before me and stuff. So why is the self-love such an important thing if I'm so powerful by doing this and putting other people before me and stuff? Well, it's really fucking important. One, for my own mentality, and two, because the force that I am for others is so much more powerful when I'm at full force. And when I'm not loving myself and I'm loving everybody else before me and I'm trying to please them to find some kind of validation in that for myself, I'm running on empty all the time. I'm running on, hey, fill my cup with your validation. And that doesn't work really well, because first of all, people ain't pouring a whole bunch of validation in your cup when you run that way. And second of all, you don't have to run that way, because when you have your own self-validation, when you're happy with what you're doing, you keep going further and further. It's the same thing as just running through your mundane tasks, but in a whole different way. It's you just automatically just start getting this energy to do things. That task that you've spent years looking at and going, oh my God, oh, how am I ever going to do this? All of a sudden, you're looking around and you're like, I'm doing it. Like I'm literally in the middle of the task. When did I start? Right? It's all about mindset. That's why manifestation is so powerful. Again, it's not psychic woo-woo. It's science, right? There's a cause and effect to everything. And I'm not smart enough to explain every fucking thing. I see things in a lot bigger of a picture. And so I can have this idea of intelligence because I see things on a different scale than other people. But my intelligence is only on that scale, right? I can't break down and walk everybody through everything because I'm not that type of person, right? But you have abilities to do certain things. You have a certain scale that you see the best on, and you can walk people on that scale, right? The same as I can do it on this specific scale that I work on. I can do that really well, right? You have a scale that you can work on. There's something in the world that you are more built for than anybody else. You know how to endure it better than everybody else, especially seeing that we all get broken by different things, right? But here's how this really is interesting too. So something that broke me is absolutely normal for another person. They're like, how did that even break you in at all? Same thing as when they're telling me about what broke them. I'm like, what? Like, that's not just normal life. I thought that was just normal life. How, like, what? If we started communicating with each other, the people that think things are just normal life have the skills to cope through those things that the people who are broken by it don't. And if we shared that information, you wouldn't have so many broken people walking around the world, and you wouldn't be so hurt because you're constantly getting hurt by who? Oh, the broken people, right? Yeah, that's how this works. Are you starting to understand the math of how this works? Trying to control people, trying to put people down are going to make them try to do the same thing to other people. You get negativity, 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 right? You're getting it? Do I have to repeat it 1,000 more times until you understand the fucking thing? I'm doing it very annoyingly on purpose because it's a fucking cycle over and over again. Now, here's the thing. Same cycle works the opposite way. Positivity, 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 positivity. Guess what positivity gets you? More positivity. No, if you gave your positivity to a person who didn't see any kind of positivity in the world, thought the whole world was negative, first of all, they the whole time were suspicious of you, thinking that you were going to wrong them. And so they fucking, in their brain, made sure that that's what their narrative was. You fucked them over, even if that's not reality. And they have to process that differently because that's how our brains work. Our brains justify things. Look into it. The time that a human being is most like fixated and determined and fixed in on a cult is when they find out that it's not true. It's because our brain does not like wasting time, right? It's why you keep going back to a toxic relationship. It's why you do the same things, because your mind doesn't want to let go of all that time it wasted doing it. It would rather just let's fix this. I put fucking 10 years into this. Let's fix it. That's how our brains work. That's not always the best way to do things, right? Sometimes things don't work out because it's not meant to work out. Because people are not always in the same place in the same time. You can care about people and love people from a distance. You can also hold boundaries with people that you love, right? And not have to abandon them into your own self-isolation so that you're unhappy. There's a balance of everything. You just have to find it. And the more that we talk with each other, even if it's crazy, and even if you don't agree, you learn new insights every time. The reason that I can speak so boldly is because regardless of how many people on the internet don't fucking like me, I know the way I talk with human beings. I know if I am person to person with you, I'm not sure how this works over the camera, but I know, checked and verified, person to person, I can connect. I can pull those things. I know how to speak with humans to hit that little seed inside of them. That's where that confidence in me comes from as a fucking insecure human being. Walking insecurity most of my life, right? Starting to walk with some confidence because I like the scientific method. I try to prove myself wrong. And when you get to a point of so correct with something that you can no longer prove yourself wrong with it, your brain's like, well, you kind of have to accept that you're right here, bitch. You know, that's just really how it works. If you can't even prove yourself wrong, you can't make AI prove you wrong. You can't make anybody around you who disagrees with you give you an articulate reason why you're wrong. You're probably right. All right, I'm going to end it there because this was supposed to be one of those 3-minute ones. And as soon as it goes over 3 minutes, my whole brain is just like, well, you're along for the ride now. Just wait until I start going live. It's going to be worse.